Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew from GarageBandProfessional.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about automation. I'm going to talk to you about just the general functions of automation, how to use it, and then I'm going to use a bunch of common FX plugins and dynamics processors to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. So I'm not sure how long this is going to be today, but let's just get into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to fade in and fade out. Now that's super simple, honestly. It's really not difficult. What you want to do is go into your GarageBand. You can see I already have the automation set up. But what you do is you just hit Mix, go Create Volume Fade Out on Main Output. Hit it, and that's going to do that on the master track right here. So that's essentially how you do it. It's really not too difficult at all. Now we're going to get rid of it. All right, so that's how you do it manually. In terms of how you do it, that's how you do it automatically. For how you do it manually, it's a lot simpler, it's still pretty simple. What you do is let's say this is we'll use this guitar right here as the introduction. So yeah, what we want to do is you hit A. Let's go into the volume automation right here. So you click on it, that sets up the automation, or it introduces the automation line. And then you go like this, and that's how you fade it in. So if you want to do it on the other way, a fade out, you just go the opposite way. So you go like that. So let's listen to that now. So yeah, it's really just as simple as that. Now let's move on to some other some cooler examples of how to use automation. Make sure to check out the article at GarageBandProfessional.com. I'll put the link in the description as usual at GarageBandProfessional.com/automation in GarageBand. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. I guess I should probably mention as well that when you're using automation, so you hit A on your keyboard, and that's going to bring it up for you. Another thing that you can do is you can hit Mix and go Show Automation. And one important thing to point out is that your automation menu, it's going to respond directly to how many plugins that you have set up. So if you click on your bar right here, you can see that I have all these different plugins that I can automate. Distortion, flanger, phaser, compressor, channel EQ, amp, pedal board, noise gate. So you can automate literally every setting, every parameter of the EQ plugin, the plugin or the processor. You can automate every aspect of it. So it can actually get kind of confusing. I generally try to avoid getting too specific with it because it ends up being too much. But yeah, that's definitely worth noting. So it's going to look like this. You see, I got all my plugins set up on this track, and then that's where they come from in the automation menu. Moving on from that, I guess we're just going to talk about some examples for different songs that I've used. So in this particular tutorial, I've talked about a few different plugins that I'm going to use as an example. I wrote the list somewhere. Where is that list? Oh yeah. The chorus, flanger, reverb, delay, distortion, volume, panning, and EQ. So I'm going to do one specific little trick using each plugin as an example of what you can do with automation. So when it comes to chorus, I mean, all of these plugins have a variety of different functions. You know what I mean? Some of them can provide sort of a thickening agent in terms of making it stand out more in the mix. Others can be for creating tension. Others can be for all kinds of things, just making it louder and so on and so forth. So yeah, we're going to talk about chorus right now. And regarding what I've done most recently with the chorus is I turned the chorus on the bass in a song for a client. So For instance, there's an interlude in this song that I recently mixed, and I'm gonna play it for you right now.
Diventa difficile nascondermi, ma non voglio farti sapere. Pazzesco pensare che niente mi può.
So yeah, what I did there is I just turned the automation up during this interlude, or rather the chorus. There's already a bit of chorus on the bass in general, just to make it stand out a little bit more. But I also increased the automation of the chorus and the intensity of the chorus during the interlude, just because I feel like that interlude, that point in the song, is kind of like an anticipatory interlude. And what I mean by that is that you're kind of like building tension before the next drop, which leads to the next part of the song. So that's what I did there. So that's just one example of how you can use chorus. So let's move on to the next one. So flanger. I used a flanger on a recent song. It was the one I just showed you. So we're going to go back to that one right now.
By the way, I got a present for you. Go to producersociety.com/free mixing cheat sheet. That'll put you on my list to get a free mixing cheat sheet. And I send all kinds of cool tips and stuff that I don't share anywhere else. You can also join my forum at forum.producersociety.com. For now, it's totally free to sign up, but in the future, I'll probably lock it down and then turn it into a full course platform.
So here is the guitar part in the beginning. So let's turn this volume automation off. So yeah, let's hit A, bring up the phaser automation, or no, it's the flanger. So you can see here what I did with the flanger. It starts off with quite a bit of flanging. The mix is cranked pretty high, which means that it's kind of like introducing the flanged signal more into the song. So let's play that. So you notice that I turned the flange off right before the drop. There's like one last strum of the guitar, and that's where the flanger turns off. And then of course, once this drops down, it's completely off. Yeah, so that's how you can use that. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can use this stuff, man. Like it's endless. It's literally endless. Let's move on to the next one. I guess I use the delay. I use the delay a lot, actually. I use stereo delay a lot for not only my guitar parts, but also for mixing for clients. I find that when you use delay just a tiny bit, when you use it just a tiny bit on background vocals or main vocals, I find that a lot can be done. Like I find it makes them stand out a little bit more. Makes them sound good. It just gives them more of like a professional sound. You know, it makes them sound better. So what did I talk about exactly here? I think I talked about the left mix and the right mix. Yes. So yeah, here's the bass chorus. So it sounds like this.
Te ne sei andata perché hai saputo di me. Te ne sei andata perché hai saputo di me.
So yeah, I mean, when you solo it like that, you can really hear all the effects that I have on it. But when you play it in the context of the whole entire mix, the effects, the delay, the reverb, and so on and so forth, it has the effect, like once you play it in the context of the mix, it just kind of makes it stand out a bit better. It sounds good. It doesn't sound so washed out when in comparison to when you have it soloed. So here's what I did. I have the automation. I just cranked up the stereo delay by a tiny bit to about 7% on the right mix. So every time the chorus comes in, that delay comes in as well, and it amplifies the chorus a bit and makes it sound cool. So I have the right mix set to 7%, and you go down to the left mix, that's also set to 7%. This one's set at 6. Let's get that to 7. And this one should be 7 as well. Come on, there we go. So yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much all for that. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Distortion. Oh yeah, I mean the distortion, you can use that for so many different things as well. It's all this stuff is so useful. So let's go into where I most recently used it. I used it in one of a beat that I'm currently working on at the moment. I have it set up on this guitar right here. Where are you? Where are you, buddy? Drive and output. Yeah. So what I did is I cranked the drive on the last part of the song. All right, so now I got that turned off so you can hear what it actually sounds like. So, yeah, that just has the effect of, you know, I don't know how to say it, like I guess saying goodbye to the song. You know what I mean? Like it's an outro. It's just kind of an effect as if the radio static. So I thought it was kind of a cool effect. So with the drive, I just cranked it up like that. You know, it's really not too convoluted. And then with the output is essentially the volume. So I just turned the volume down. So you can see what I did with the automation right here. I turned it down. That way, when the drive is going up, you know, it doesn't get so loud that you just like blow someone's speakers. You know what I mean? Like you don't want that. That would be, I guess that would be a really dramatic end to a song, and it would be, you know, it would be cool, but you know, it's costly. So yeah, that's what I did for that one. Let's move on to the next. So with the EQ, that's another one that's super popular in pretty much every style of music. I recently did. I might have to remake it right now. All right, let's remake it right now. So what I did is I don't do this too often, so I had to recreate it on my own. So what you do is let's go into the synth, and let's go to retro. Where is it? Retro synth fuzz. I think it's called retro fuzz. Yeah. So let's just record something quickly. All right. So let's repeat that, and let's mess around with the EQ, channel EQ. There we go. So let's go down into the channel EQ, and then it's I think it was a low cut frequency that I used before. Yes, low cut frequency. Low cut frequency. So here we are right here, low cut frequency. So let's get this automation happening. So what we're doing is we're kind of just oscillating the frequency. We're oscillating the frequency and making it sound cool. This is really common in EDM. Some hip hop producers do it. I've noticed that it's mostly a SoundCloud thing. Like I hear a lot of producers do it on SoundCloud, but I don't hear it as much in like mainstream hip hop. I don't hear it as often. I'm not sure why. I think it's a great effect. I think it's because in order for a song to even get on the radio and be popular, it has to be like not very sophisticated or dynamic or interesting. You can see I'm kind of bitter. I mean, I like a lot of mainstream hip hop, but I find that, you know, anytime a song is successful, it's in many cases it's usually because of a lack of sophistication, because it has to cater to a wider audience. But anyway, you don't want to hear about that. So let's talk about this. So what I just did is I created an automation line, which is gonna, you know, cut the frequencies at low. So right here there's no low cut, right here there's a low cut, right here there's no low cut, right here there's a low cut. So here's what this is gonna sound like. So if you're listening to that right now, you're thinking, oh, I've heard that before. And yeah, that's a really common thing that people do, especially in EDM. I mean, you might set up this automation right before a drop. That's super common. Yeah, so I guess that's it for that one as well. In terms of the volume is a little more straightforward. I mean, it's really not necessary, but I'll show you anyway. So kind of like with the bass and the chorus before, to, you know, as a thickening agent, as I called it. Where are we? Wrong one. Senza titolo. So here's the bass. Let's look at the volume. Oh yeah, I forgot that I actually turned it off. So yeah, well, let's say you just crank the bass a little bit at that particular point, and then you play it back.
Diventa difficile nascondermi, ma non voglio farti sapere. Pazzesco pensare che
So yeah, it's as simple as that, really. I mean, with the volume, you're only adjusting the amplitude, the amplitude, which is just a fancy word for, you know, volume. So I mean, there's really no reason to talk about it much more. It's pretty much as simple as that. So with the panning is another cool one. I did that in a song of mine. So let's go back to the song that I've been working on at the moment. There we go. Open up. I did it with the guitar in the beginning. So in the very beginning of the song, the guitar serves as the introduction, but I have it panned to the center because it's kind of the focus of the song. So I don't know if you noticed that, but let's look at that. Let's look at this panning dial right here. So I've literally panned it, so you can see what I've done here. I've panned it to the right. As soon as the bass and the drums and everything else, all the other instruments hit, I just pan it quickly to the right, and that just has the effect of, you know, providing some space for the other instruments. Pay attention to this panning dial. So yeah, I mean, so you can do that all over the place, man. You can do it with vocals, you can do it with hi-hats, and so on and so forth. There's really no limit to what you can do. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you can do. There's a ton of stuff that you can do with automation. This is just an introduction. Like, this is just putting your toe in the water, so to speak. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. I realize this is now 20 minutes pretty well. So I guess we're just going to call it a day, and I'll see you next time.